Sitting around a campfire is traditionally a place where stories are told. Through the events and people that I visit, I'm often asked the question, how did you get into chainsaw carving? What is your story? So episode 5 is all about my story. In 2018, I was diagnosed with PTSD. And I'm not telling you this story because I want you to feel sorry for me. I'm telling you this story because I hope that the outcome might help somebody else in the future. So, back in 2018, I was diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder. This came from it was actually complex PTSD, so it came from some childhood experiences, some experiences in the military, in the parachute regiment, and experience in Cheshire Police. And actually, whilst I was serving as a police officer, that's when it sort of all bubbled to the surface. So I was signed off work. I went to see my GP, who prescribed me medication. I went to see occupational health, who signed me up for counselling. Also during this period, a whole load of other things happened 2018 into 2019. So I ended up getting divorced, leaving the family home and going eventually to live back at my mum's, which was interesting in itself. My father had quite a debilitating illness which resulted in his death. My brother-in-law passed away 3 days after Christmas. So all this stuff all happened all at the same time, all in less than a year, and that really took its toll. But it really highlighted how much I was struggling. And once I started counselling with an absolutely fantastic lady, Jane, that really opened doors. That really made me realise that some of the behaviours I've had for many years and the way I view certain things is down to trauma that I haven't dealt with for quite a long time. My second session with Jane was meant to be 50 minutes and lasted about 2.5 hours, because she opened a door that had been very tightly shut in my memory for a very long time. So I was behaving in certain ways, in certain circumstances, and I didn't know why. And then I discovered why. I discovered there was trauma that was locked away in the back of my mind that then I rediscovered, which was extremely upsetting at the time. But actually, that I still to this day, I see that session as being the start point for me being able to become well or improve my mental health. During that period, I was off work and I lived in a little village in North Wales, and I became good friends with one of my neighbours, Matt. He used to come and knock on and say, "Come on, we're going for a walk." And we'd go off for walks with the dogs, and we had all sorts of conversations about where I was at that particular day. Usually, how are you feeling? Oh, shit. Yeah, how are you feeling? Yeah, shit. Yeah. And we had some great conversations, which led eventually to what's my future going to look like? Because I can't remain as a police officer. So what would I do with my future? It did occur to me and to him that I like being outdoors. I like being in environments like this. And so I went to my next session with my counsellor and said to her, I don't know whether this is a good thing or not. I'm going to learn how to use a chainsaw. And she went, oh yeah, what could possibly go wrong? A madman with a chainsaw? No, yeah, that would be. She said it's wonderful, the idea of being outdoors and in the elements and amongst trees is fantastic. I went on a course with a guy called Phil Dunford, who was incredible, lovely guy, big lumberjack of a guy, and at the end of the course I was having a conversation with him about what I was going to do with my future, whether I would get to tree surgery, because that's what I expected to be. I used to be in the parachute regiment, so heights wasn't a problem for me. And he was doing a bit of carving himself a week or two later, so I said, do you mind if I come along and watch? I turned up, he handed me a couple of saws, some timber, and said, have a go. So I did. And first of all, I had a go making a little mushroom, and that turned out all right. And then I had to go making this fella. So he's now called Phil, for obvious reasons. Phil sits in my workshop. If you see some of my other videos, you'll see him sat on the shelf in my in my workshop. So based on doing that, having never used a chainsaw before I did the course, he kind of said to me, he then went and introduced me to another guy, Ian Williams, who's an experienced chainsaw artist who lives in North Wales, who I spent several days with, and he gave me some more pointers, equipment to use and what have you, and I've just been developing my skills ever since. What I discovered in creating this stuff, there is therapy, and the therapy comes from focusing your mind. I've said this to people before. I remember saying it to a lady once. I find chainsaw carving therapeutic, and she said to me, how can something as noisy as that be therapeutic? That's ridiculous. But actually, it really is. It truly is. I put my ear defenders on. Sometimes I put some music going through them, other times not. And I just lose myself into creating whatever it is that I'm making. Everything else in the world disappears. I'm just focused on one thing. That form of mindfulness is just fantastic, really, really great. It is, in effect, meditation. Chainsaw meditation, there's a thing, eh? I'm going to start a new craze, chainsaw meditation. And I just found I really enjoyed it. I made a few things. People liked what I made. My sister came to me and said, where the bloody hell has this come from? Because you've never had an artistic bone in your body. And she's right. I really don't know. My counsellor explained it in this way. If you think of it as like buses on a bus route, and a memory is this bus coming along, and you jump on the bus and then it goes off around the route, and you can choose to get off at the next stop or the stop after. You don't have to go all the way around the route, which can be very traumatic. So if you think of it in those terms, it's just really, I learned to see it in that way. I learned to see these traumas in that way. So I understand that this is just a memory and it's not who I am. PTSD is the result of things that have happened to me, not who Robert Dalton is. Taking myself into this creative world, I'm not filling my head and being triggered by these things all the time. And that actually has then led to me discovering meditation in itself. And I discovered that we think that you don't have to go and grow a long beard and sit in a loincloth halfway up a mountain cross-legged to meditate in the Himalayas somewhere. You can meditate anywhere, and there's a wonderful guy who's written a couple of great books called Gelong Tubtan. He's an Englishman who became a Buddhist monk, and he's written these great books about actually the principle of meditation is quite a simple thing. It's about focusing on one thing. Often you start off focusing on purely on your breath. When your mind wanders, thinking about shopping lists or what you said to somebody yesterday or whatever it is, you bring yourself back to focusing on your breath. Once you notice that your mind drifting, then bring it back to thinking about your breath. And that's the same for me when I'm creating chainsaw art. I'm focusing on that. When my mind drifts off, I bring myself back to focusing on that. So it's the same thing, it's just a little bit more noisy than sitting quietly in a room. But what I do now is I try and start my day meditating, because what we also understand now from, there's lots of fairly new neuroscience, that the benefit to your mental health and to your brain physically is amazing just doing really simple meditation like that. The other thing that I discovered was diet. I came across some information about the ketogenic diet was originally developed for children in the 1920s with epilepsy, and it was created to improve their brain health. And then the more I looked into it, the more I realised that it's a really good way to improve your mental health. And now I tend to eat a higher fat, low carbohydrate diet, which keeps my moods much more steady. So I'm generally burning fat, although I do have a sweet tooth, so do lapse from time to time, but generally I try and keep it like that. And I do notice a difference in my moods. So the other thing I've discovered as well on this journey is grounding. Lots of cultures have been doing it for thousands of years, and literally take your shoes and socks off and walk on bare earth. We insulate ourselves with rubber soles. We're moving around all day, creating a positive charge. The earth is negatively charged, so when you walk around barefoot, you balance that negative and positive charge. If you insulate yourself, you don't balance that out, and that means everything's still fizzing and buzzing and what have you. So it's really simple. Walk on your back lawn or wherever on ground. That's why we feel great when we go on holiday to the beach, because you're running around barefoot and you feel amazing. Part of it is to do with the fact that you've been grounding all day on the beach. So I'm discovering all these things that really help. Medication was an interesting one. So I was reluctant when I was first offered medication, and the way it was explained to me is that your mental health being out of balance, there are chemicals within your brain that aren't being produced and others that are being produced. Taking the medication will help to get that in balance, and using it alongside having counselling will help that process of counselling to get stuff out and get things talked about and start dealing with stuff. It certainly made a difference for me, and I still take medication and I'm slowly reducing it. One of the issues with medication is that once you're on it, it takes time to get off. You can't just stop. I also do journaling as well. I find that's a really great way to start my day, to get all my troubles out onto paper and start writing something positive. Just like I have really nice high quality coffee in the morning, and I just absolutely love it. It's mycotoxin free, amazing stuff, and I just write that I really love my coffee and I'm really grateful for it, and it's about developing those neural pathways. All these things alongside medication, with a view to not remaining on medication forever, because there is a tendency for people to think, oh yeah, let's take medication and that's going to fix everything. Well, it's not. Medication is just helping with symptoms to improve a lifestyle, to improve your life, because when you write in it, when I was first diagnosed and I went to stay at my mum's, It's really interesting. A couple of years later, I remember having a conversation with her and her saying to me she was really concerned. There was quite a period where she was keeping a very close eye on me and following me, and I didn't know. Because she was really worried about whether I might take my life or something like that. And I have to say, I never felt like I was going to intentionally do something like that. But what I did feel was that I wasn't really bothered. So that tends to make you be a bit more reckless, which is really interesting, because that period where I was really poorly, I was also doing a lot of exercise, and people think, oh yeah, great, lots of exercise, releasing all those happy hormones, all those endorphins in your brain and in your body, and that feels really that makes you feel great, and it kind of does. But what I was doing was pushing myself really hard all the time, and emotions were coming out of me. I was in a regiment where fitness is what it was all about. Every day we do fitness all the time, and push yourself and push yourself and push yourself. Parachute regiment is known for its resilience and getting in behind enemy lines and surviving and being super fit. And so it's interesting that I chose that regiment to be in. When I was out running in subsequent years, I'd be pushing myself up hills, and I would force myself not to stop and be in a lot of pain and be crying, be in absolute tears of pain. That is not a healthy way to go running. That is not a healthy way to be doing exercise. And I was very thin. And interestingly, my partner now has looked at some photographs from around that time of my diagnosis, and she said, look at your eyes. They look like shark eyes. You look no emotion, dead, nothing. That was living with PTSD and not really caring whether I lived or died, not really outwardly to everyone else, life and soul of the party, you know, covering it up really well. Oh, my mum used to say, oh, he's so laid back and what have you. It wasn't laid back, I just didn't give a shit. Or I did give a shit, but I just hid it really well and said and told people I wasn't bothered. Once I started the medication, it sort of helps that a little bit. And actually I stopped doing exercise altogether. Now I'm trying to reduce my medication slowly, and I'm actually using a homeopath to help me do that. So I try to look at more natural remedies for dealing with my mental health. So with the ketogenic diet, I look at, there's a guy, Eddie Abu, I keep quoting all these people. Eddie Abu, he swears a lot, but he talks about, basically, if it comes in a packet with a list of ingredients, then you're probably best not eating it. And if you apply that as a general rule, you know, you can't go far wrong. And it's not easy nowadays to do that, but that helps with your physical and your mental health again. So I'd had some good relationships throughout my 20s and 30s, and when I stopped and looked back, there was a pattern where when those relationships started getting good, I would scupper them. I would discover ways to make things not work out, and for it to not seem like it was my fault. I think I did that with a few friendships as well, you know, just push boundaries with my behaviour, and never really looked properly at myself as to why I was doing that and why that happened. So it's another reason why having that all come on top in 2018 became such a good, although when you're in it at the time, it it feels shocking and terrible, and you spend time in those sessions of counselling really facing up to yourself, and facing up to your shortcomings, and facing up to things that you've done that have not been nice to other people, and it's really, really upsetting. There's a few people I've come across that I follow on social media around mental health and mental well-being. They make this analogy about the difference between buffalo and cows. I've told you the story before, Tania. When there's a big storm coming, buffalo really intelligently turn into the storm and face it head on and pass through that storm, which is really, really hard, but they soon come out the other side of it because they face into it and move through it, and it passes over them. Cows tend to run away from the storm, and so it follows them, and it keeps chasing them and keeps chasing them and keeps chasing them, and it stays with them for much longer. So that idea of turning and facing and being encouraged gently and very kindly by a wonderful lady in my counselling really made a heck of a difference. It was really, really hard work, but it was definitely the best thing that happened, and it meant that my future relationships with people have become much better. My part in the relationship has become much better. And actually I have a personal policy now where I often say it to myself: surround yourself with positive people. And the impact that can have is incredible, because at the point of my diagnosis, people disappeared from my life who've been in it for quite a long time, and new people came into my life, and that became really, really noticeable. I have some really, really great people in my life now, and I also find that people who don't stick with me for very long, usually there is something there. There's no synergy between me and them, and I try to look at things much more positively now. I work very hard on that because I'm really conscious of how I used to be. If other people have got their own work to do on themselves, then they find that quite difficult. Yeah. Where am I now? Well, here's an interesting thing. There's a reason I brought this. There you go. This is a good way to answer it. So this is a carving I did recently from a beautiful piece of yew that came from a churchyard not far from here. We were on holiday on the beach, and I was doing that thing, and that's what this is a representation of. You know how you try and stack pebbles on top of each other and see if you can very precariously balance and see how many you can stack up. This is quite I didn't achieve something as amazing as this. I got to thinking that I spent probably an hour or maybe 2 hours just making these different stacks on the beach, and I really enjoyed the mindfulness of it. I really enjoyed the challenge of it, and just focusing on that one thing for quite a long time, and I was quite patient with it. 2 or 3 years ago, if I'd have tried, or 2 or 3 years before then, if I'd have tried that, I'd have been not doing this is alright, booted it off, and I certainly wouldn't have stuck with it for an hour or two. I think those regular things that are in place in my lifestyle are really helping, and it's that, I think it's the consistency of it. I notice if I stop doing some of the things like the meditation, the journaling, the diet, all those bits and bobs of things, I start to notice that I start to feel horrible things about other people, about myself. I start to worry about things more, start to feel stressed and anxious about things that I shouldn't be feeling stressed and anxious about. So you don't necessarily notice the benefit of it when it's getting better. You notice how it's not working when you stop doing it. I'll tell you another thing I've just thought of as well that I don't do anymore, is I don't watch the news. I watch it every now and then, and I usually find out anything big that I need to know from just talking to people. It's a book by Ruby Wax called Frazzled, where she talks in that about this, exactly the same subject. She talks about the news and how we're bombarded 24 hours a day with negative stories about bad things that people have done, or stressful situations for other people on the other side of the world you can do absolutely nothing about. I think she gives an example about a beached whale in Japan or something like that, and she said, what am I going to do, go over with my Land Rover and drag it back off the beach and save its life? I'm not, but I'm really, you know, it's another little thing that keeps chipping away at that negativity and just putting negative information into your mind constantly, all the time. And it's really hard when you've been bombarded with that for your brain not to be affected by it, and not to start thinking in and looking for those negative things. We have, naturally as humans, we have a negative bias as a defense mechanism, but that's a defense mechanism when bloody saber-toothed tigers used to come and chase us. We don't have that anymore. We still get bombarded with all this shock horror stuff. You know, if a saber-toothed tiger's running after you, you put in a really big effort to get away from it, and once you're safe, everything calms down again. We're now bombarded with this stress and strain all the time, and we never get a chance to come down from it. And that's where meditation, grounding, journaling, chainsaw carving takes you away from that constant bombardment of high stress. For me, simple little ideas and just introducing them and making them a habit one at a time I found really helpful, and the consistency I've found really helpful. I'm doing this because I want to give people the idea and the understanding that there's nothing special about me. I'm a regular bloke who's had some experiences that are traumatic, and there are many other people out there that have had similar and worse. There is potential for you to have a much better quality of life after that PTSD diagnosis or that mental health diagnosis, and it doesn't have to be all doom and gloom forever. There is definitely, I know with some things, some people can't afford counselling and things like that, but there are other things that you can do for yourself, and there are lots of charities as well that do help with counselling and what have you. So please don't despair, because there is certainly help out there, and there are certainly things that you can do for yourself. And I know they're not easy, because I also understand PTSD it's stress, anxiety, depression, and when you're depressed you don't want to do anything. I understand that. I get irritated by that sometimes when people say, oh, I'm depressed. No, your football team's just lost the game. You're not depressed at all. I'll tell you about depression, and it's not that. Because you don't want to do anything, you don't want to get out of bed, you don't want to exist. That is so much, that means it's really next to impossible to sit and try meditation or go grounding or even get up and go out of bed. None of these things are, the ideas are simple, the mechanism is simple, but actually doing it is really hard. But the key is consistency. Keep trying, and yeah, you never know. Yeah, I reckon so. Yeah, I think I would literally go as far as to say it chainsaw carving has saved my life. Yeah, definitely. It's yeah, it's incredible.